views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Good evening and welcome to BronxTalk. Tonight, it's the debate for the Democratic primary in the 78th Assembly District, a district that includes the Bronx neighborhoods of Fordham, Kingsbridge, Belmont, and Bedford Park. The incumbent is Assemblyman Jose Rivera, who served in this seat from 1982 to 87, and after a stint in the City Council, was re-elected to the seat in the Assembly in 2000. The challenger is Aisha Bravo, a longtime executive director of the Bronx County Democratic Committee. Tonight's debate is co-sponsored by the League of Women's Voters, a nonpartisan political organization that advocates for informed and active participation in government and works to increase understanding of major public policy issues. We are thrilled to have them on board. The primary election is Tuesday, September 13th, and all eligible voters are, of course, encouraged to vote. Unfortunately, while both candidates were invited to be with us tonight, only one, the challenger, Ms. Bravo, accepted our invitation. So unfortunately, Mr. Rivera will not be here tonight. As a side note, he also chose to not appear in a debate for this seat that was scheduled 2 years ago. By our long-standing policy, as a result, Ms. Bravo will be interviewed alone on the program tonight. We certainly regret his absence. But nonetheless, you are here. Good evening, Ms. Bravo. And bravo to you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. Let's just start with a very basic question. Why run? Why would you like to become an assembly member in the 78th?
Well, I've dedicated my whole adult life to public service, and I've seen this, and he hasn't used his organizational skills in a long time, at least my time there.
Mm-hmm. You're not exactly a newcomer to Bronx politics, as I called you a newcomer, because if you were to be elected into Albany, you would be.
Right.
Your website says that you helped guide the Bronx Democratic Organization as a beacon of democratic principles to the rest of the city, the state, and the nation. Many people would disagree with that. They would say, you know what, the Bronx County Democratic Organization, every time there was a grassroots candidate, they challenged them, many times lawyered them literally off the ballot, and used in many cases some very heavy-handed tactics, certainly throughout the period of time you were the executive director over there. What would make you think that what your website says is true, that this is a beacon of democratic principles?
Well, let's backtrack in time, right? Jose was the were very good.
What did you learn from that experience, both good and bad? Are there things that you say, gee whiz, I learned that from the working in the county organization that I would never do and never want to follow? Did you see things that, frankly, you don't approve of? And then, of course, on the other side are the things that you say, oh, that was a good idea. I think I'd like to work on that or perpetuate that.
Well, it was definitely a privilege and an honor to work with Carl Hasty. He was a consensus builder that stand up.
Is it somewhat ironic that here you are? In other words, one would think if you have an executive director who works for a county organization and then that person goes to seek office, you could then expect maybe that now the Speaker of the Assembly or some of the others would come out and support you. But of course, in the Bronx, it seems that they always support the incumbent. Surprising to you that some of your friends or people you work with closely did not come out and support you? What do you think of that?
Not at all. I'm not upset. That matters. What does it mean for the community?
Among the many concerns of people in the area is that this will, of course, raise prices. There is some anecdotal evidence that businesses are having their leases shortened or at least not having them renewed for a very long time, or in some cases they're being pushed out because the anticipation of having this rather large project literally across the street. And certainly there is some evidence of landlords doing the same with rents, anticipating that they'll be able to get more money. What can be done to allay those fears and say, well, here's a project that you clearly support, that we think is a good idea, but will not hurt the people who have been waiting so long for something like this to happen?
Well, we need to anchor our small businesses. We need to make sure that they have us effective for everybody.
You get elected, hypothetically, you get elected to office, and then you go in, you get acclimated, you get your first introduction to the assembly, and then one day all that is done, the door closes, you're alone in your office, and you sit there, the phones are there, the computers are there, the constituents are back in the Bronx somewhere. What are the first things you do, and what is the first thing that you would work on?
Granted elected.
In that race, and we expect they will all be with us. So thank you for watching. Thank you to Aisha Bravo.
Thank you for having me.
And thanks to our producer, Yela Duberis, also to director Autumn Vasquez. And again, please make sure to vote on September 13th. Good night.